Today marks 1419 days share lessons to learn and continue to learn with you. I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about something that a little bit bothers me. Something that I think that society went a little bit too far. I think that technologies have improved, everything have improved. And I think that one thing that was amplified because of it is self-righteousness. Self-righteousness, I think that we need to learn to be humble. And if we are able to be humble, we're able to really improve faster and become the best version of ourselves. And today really focus on self-righteousness, what it is, why is bad, and really how to get out of it, just to make sure that we're able to be humble, that we're able to really be open, that we're able to be less narrow-minded and be open and wide-minded people. And I think first we need to understand that how you describe self-righteousness, where do you see that, where the self-righteousness is coming from? And this is probably easy, and I probably been self-righteous. I'm guilty of that 100%. I was very argumentative when I was growing up. I wanted to be always right. So that this first sign of self-righteousness is that you always want to be right. No matter what, just want to be right. And this is self-righteousness. Second thing is that you judge other people openly. So that means that if someone has a different opinion than you, that means that you sometimes even think that they are bad in a sense. And I think that when you think about your current situation, people don't have ability to have conversation, dialogues without even shouting at each other and seeing other person as unhuman almost. It made it hard to imagine that you're able to look into other person and have a hate because you have a different opinion about something. And sometimes it's just so interesting because you potentially could have facts and you discuss about facts. Of course, you're able to really say that how you're not able, this is a fact. But most things that are self-righteous is based on opinions. And those opinions are not like right and wrong. Sometimes it's just which one is a little bit more right. So the most times like 60-40%. And that's where so much hate is and self-righteousness. It's like my opinion is the best, another person's my opinion is the best. And because other person has a different opinion, and people don't look around that opinion and what kind of values they live by, just about one opinion, and then of course judge other. And that's self-righteousness. Third thing is moral superiority, believing that they know better. They believe that their moral compass is better, their values are better, and because of that, they become dismissive of other people, superior to others. They looking from superior perspective. I think that when you want to be humble, when you understand that every single person have points and arguments that you can learn from, I think that rather than consenting other person, being able to say like, okay, let's understand where you're coming from. I think that would be so much beautiful. But again, this is self-righteousness. Self-righteousness is when you have that moral superiority. I think that people who actually are morally superior, they don't feel more superior because they know that the more you learn, the better you are. And they understand that they're able to learn from every single person. And number 4, and probably very, very simple as well, intolerance for opposing views. So they are not tolerating that there's other ways of view, so they have confirmation bias. There's one way, and that's all. I think it's self-righteousness, believing that there's nothing else, just one opinion. I think that's so sad because sometimes we believe that we are right, but after we get more wisdom and more perspective, we learn that the things and the views that we had in the past were wrong. So how many views we still have in our mind that are wrong, but we are so self-righteous believing that it's right? And I think that's, again, self-righteousness is really bad because what it leads to stagnation because we believe in the wrong opinions at the first place. Because even myself, I used to be self-righteous person. And I used to believe that I know the best. But the more I learn, the more I study, the more humble I become. And I think that's the beautiful thing. The more you learn, the more you understand there are so many things. And I think that you become more humble because the things that you believed in, and so with your almost the whole heart, and you study and you learn and you get better, and you finally figure out the things that you believed so much, you figured it was totally false. The more of those realizations, aha moments you have, the more humble you become. But if you do not allow those moments to come in, you always believe the same thing, and you believe 20 years, of course, self-righteousness is a bad things. Other thing that is relationship strain, because it's hard. It's hard to be around the people who always want to be right. It's hard to really have communication. It's hard to have discussion because you know that at the end of the day, other person will want to win. At the end of the day, the other person will want to feel right. So it's not able to find what is right because other person wants to be right. So like rather than figure out what's right, they want to be right, and that's a huge difference. Huge difference, and I hope that you get it. Like when we think about discussion, we need to understand not who is right, but what is right. And that's again when you have a humble conversation, that's what it leads to. But when you have a conversation with a self-righteous person, it's basically you have a conversation who is right, and that's not good. And then at the same time is inner tension. I think that inner deep down you know that it's wrong, but I think that sometimes we need to educate ourselves that really we could allow ourselves to be humble, because sometimes we have insecurities, the high ego, we want to be accepted, we want to be superior, we want to feel better, and that's why we have those arguments, even though that it might be that we do not want that. We don't want that. So now I promise to really look into that our society seems that get more self-righteous right now, because I think that the social media have amplified certainty, and I think that that's where people who really speak more in the middle, because there's three ways of looking at things. It be one side directed, like somebody said, people left or right, very 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 radical left. I'm not speaking about politics right now, but just saying radical left, radical right. Even though of course people speak about politics, but they speak about any kind of topic. Could be radical left, radical right. It could be totally middle. And I think that's in when I think about a lot of the majority of topics in my life, I'm like more the middle side. I'm always looking for the gray, not the black and white, but really more the gray side. And I think that right now in social media is are amplified people who are very radical, one side another one, because that radical opinions really attracts attention. And that polarization, I think that is leading people who really say, I believe in this person, I believe in that other person. And people in the middle, it seems that it just disappears. And I think that that's, again, leads to self-righteousness, because people follow one side of the equation without understanding other side of the equation. And that's, of course, leads to really confirmation biases that you learn from the same people over and over again. And that's, of course, because of confirmation bias, self-righteousness. You believe that your way is the best because you heard the same ideas, the same arguments over and over and over again so many times. And I think strong opinions now is winning in social media. So I think that if you want to really see different side and become less self-righteous, sometimes we need to really understand that we need to really look intentionally other side of our own opinions. So number two, that is a polarization and identity. So I already mentioned so social media and polarization. So one side and another. That means that we are polarized in so many different ways, politically, socially, culturally, and we need to really understand that we are totally the same. We are totally the same, unique and special. We have different opinions, but we are the same. And I think that when we have distinguished opinion from a person, because I think that is so bad right now, is that when we have self-righteousness, when start to judge other persons rather than judging their opinion. Yes, it's a massive shift in thinking about the person, because you can love the person, but you can hate their opinion. You can love the person, but you can really say that your opinion, your belief is totally wrong. You are a good person, but I hate your opinion. I think that's how we're supposed to come up with any kind of conversation, rather than having polarization on humans. We potentially could have polarization on ideas. And that is a massive difference, because I think that the polarization at this point is such a massive thing that people start to believe that other side is unhumane. And people are willing to do crazy things right now because of that massive polarization regarding people rather than the opinions that people say. And I think that people have almost identity attached to opinion, and that's why, like, okay, like, oh, this is my identity, my opinion is my identity, and other person's opinion is their identity. So that means their identity is wrong, and I think that's where the truly unhumane things start to happen, because you attach an opinion to your identity. An opinion is very rigid. So that means being able to really say that opinion is not identity. Opinion is very flexible and bendable and not willing to take opinion as identity. Number three, and I think that is very, very important regarding self-righteousness, is information overload. That means we have so much information, and how is that really leads to self-righteousness? Is that the more information we have, the less time we have to absorb information, to understand information. So that means because we have less time to absorb, to reflect on that information, it leads to shortcuts. It leads to shortcuts. That means we listen to a person that we potentially trust, and we believe that they do their due diligence, understanding the topic. So rather than doing this research and understanding for ourselves, we start to believe that other person did it. You start to really trust their due diligence, and other person might be they didn't do that due diligence as well because they have information overload as well. So rather than we doing our research by ourselves and due diligence, that is very, very important, we start to trust other people thoughts, beliefs, and sometimes we, rather than looking to a podcast that is 2 hours, so we'll listen snapshots of 30 seconds, 1 minute snapshots about their ideas, where they start with big idea, audacious idea, but after that they explain it, and then people believe that 1 minute was terrible, but when you actually look into 30 minutes, you understand the thinking behind it, you realize that the thought, even though it seemed terrible, but when you understand their way of thinking, how they come up, you start to realize that maybe it's not that bad. So the people have shortcuts, and because they have shortcuts, people start to have confirmation bias even stronger because they don't have time to reflect on other side. They're looking to confirm their ideas, and they don't have time to look to the other side because there's so much information anyway, and they want to learn so much from other things, and they don't have time to really learn what's truly true and rather than belief and opinion. Number four is moral signaling. And I think that at the moment, because some people feel righteous and they polarize, I think that we have a tendency to do what other people do. And I think that's what exactly I think that we need right now is being able to really lead by example. So if I have some person it's show moral superiority, other person I want to really show the same way, and I think that self-righteousness is coming from the signaling of superiority, and I think there's a lot of people who are trying to do that, trying to signal on their social media they are superior in some way, and because we see and they are seen much more than people who are actually doing the right thing, now they learn the wrong way of showing superiority. They believe that certainty and being loud is what you're supposed to do. And I think that's again the social media leads to that of self-righteousness, learning from people the way how to operate from the wrong people because they just louder than people who are really nice and good leaders. Number five and number is anxiety and uncertainty. I think that sometimes people just don't want to accept that they are not right. I think that sometimes you need to be an amazing leader. You need to be humble. You need to be secure. And I think that's one thing that social media did is because there's so many people feel inferior because on social media, people look superior because their life looks beautiful. They have beautiful cars, beautiful houses, beautiful faces, beautiful bodies. Everything seems beautiful, beautiful families. Everything is beautiful. And it seems like, oh, everyone knows what they're doing. Everything is beautiful. At least one thing I could be good at. I could be knowing some information. I think that because of that, we became more insecure because of social media. Because when you really realize that most people on social media, their life on social media is 10 times, 100 times, even maybe 1,000 times better than his actual life. And there is a misconception of the difference between what is shown on social media and what is real life. I think that leads to insecurities because people feel that I'm not having that, I'm not having that. But when you start to really realize that there's so many pieces that's missing on social media. I think that we can really feel that we are okay. We are doing an amazing job. And because you are accepting yourself, you love yourself, you want to improve yourself, you are becoming less self-righteous. Because when you love yourself, you want to nurture yourself. It is a beautiful saying that when what you hate, you're not able to improve. If you hate an enemy, you will not be nurturing that person. But when you love somebody, you will nurture that, you improve that. So that makes exactly the same. When you love yourself, you know that you love yourself, you like yourself, you want to nurture yourself. And if you want to nurture yourself, that means you need to be humble, that you can learn to fail and discuss ideas, that you could really learn and get better rather than to be right. And being right is coming from ego. And being humble and being able to learn and change your mind, is nurturing yourself because you love yourself. And that comes from security. So in a bigger picture, I think that the most important things that we need to do to really become less self-righteous and really learn really authority. Really, that's why sometimes I think that where the self-righteous is coming from. Sometimes people who really don't have that transcendence or something that is more than themselves. And that's why faith is a beautiful thing, because you understand that more than you. There's more than you. And I think that what we need to do to really become less self-righteous is first cultivate intellectual humility. Understand that your opinion might be wrong. And when you have that humility, when you're able to understand that your knowledge is limited, and you're able to learn from every single person, you become less less self-righteous. Could it be missing something, or asking like where they are coming from? And I think that's we need to really filter your intake, because sometimes we take information from the wrong sources, and because we take from wrong sources and we believe that those people did their due diligence, we take information that is actually wrong. They didn't have a bad intention to give you wrong information. It's just they follow the wrong intake information as well. So if we take better information, we'll be less self-righteous as well. And of course, be able to do like when we're listening, I think that we need to really focus on listening more than winning. And again, this is again learning. Because when you are aware of self-righteous, when you're aware and you start to see that, okay, I'm a little bit self-righteous, I want to change that. I want to become better. I want to really not have a strain on my relations, but I want to really improve. I want to be humble. You start to see that, okay, I'm not listening. I'm trying to really, when I'm listening to a person, I'm not listening actually. I'm waiting to really give my argument. And this is a huge shift. When you listen, you try to understand where they're coming from. And when they share, then you are able to express what, if you understand their point of view. And if they feel understood, they will be able to really try to understand you as well. And I think that's a beautiful thing when we're able to really focus on listening rather than winning. Next thing that I think that we need to do to really be less self-righteous is really set boundaries with negativity. That means I think that one of the beautiful things to do is say no to news. News are terrible places, because news are one of the places where are very polarized, because all the news most likely is negative, because negative is more attractive, because people are looking for dangers. I mean, people are looking for negativity. So being able to say, I'm not for news, but if I need for, I will look for, but I better look for other information, podcasts, seminars, conferences, books, where I could really get the input that allows me to elevate my perspective, elevate my thinking, elevate my wisdom, so I could be less self-righteous. The last one I want to mention is practice compassionate reflection. And then that means that you're able to be compassionate about yourself. Am I connecting and reacting to protect my ego, or I'm generally concerned for someone's well-being? And I think that is very, very important to understand where you're coming from as well, where that other person is coming from. And when you're able to be compassionate to other person, because it might be that you are learning not to be self-righteous, but the other person maybe is not there yet. I'm not jumping back to be self-righteous because that other person wants to be self-righteous and then going back. I think that we need to really choose our battles. Because again, this is the last thing that I want to mention, is that we need to choose our battles and lead by example. Because then more people will be less self-righteous, but be humble and be able to really lead by humility and say that I might not know that. I might be that I'm mistaken. But based on my current understanding, based on the research I did, this is what I gathered. Allow me to learn. Maybe there is something that I'm missing. Which parts do you feel? Which parts do you believe I am right with, and which parts do you feel that is it's different at? And I think that when we're able to learn how to communicate, I think that this is the part that I want to learn. I want to be educated in to learn how to be less self-righteous, because it's easy to judge. And I think that I have been judging people a lot of times on their opinions, and I learned how to catch myself. And used to take me a while. Now I start to catch myself quite fast when I start to judge personally, and being able to love every single person, no matter what they think. I think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I truly believe that this topic is essential, especially right now, because our social media is very polarizing, and that self-righteousness is even more polarizing. And being able to become much more humble, I think this will be a very, very important topic in the next generation or so. So I hope you just win, and see you tomorrow.